Hello. Through the years, I have been a fan of Marshall amps. I've had many different amps, the JCM800 versions, I've had the JBMs, even some of the older models like I have now. It's the 1974 JMP, DSL lines, multiple different Marshalls through the years. What I never had, actually, was the Kerry King signature model JCM800. Kind of a boosted, modded, if you will, JCM800 made special by Marshall for Kerry King, of course, who plays in Slayer. Recently, Softtube has come out with a sim for it. So, of course, you know, through my little quest lately to test just about every sim I can get my hands on, I wanted to try out the Kerry sim, JCM800 Kerry King signature model. So today we're going to go through that and test it out and see how it does. I'm going to compare it with a couple of different sims that are JCM800s as well. We'll also test it against the real thing. I've got a JCM800 2203 running into a 4x12 Marshall cab with vintage 30s in it, running it through SM57 into my PreSonus. So we'll test it out and see how it sounds with some cleans, some gain, and then we'll put it in mixes like we do usually and see how it compares with the others. So let's go ahead and jump into it. As you can see, it's we got our Marshall JCM800 Kerry King edition here. Very cool interface. I like the look of it. And again, you know, the thing to remember about this one specifically is that Softtube made this specifically to do one thing and one thing well, correct? You know, so, you know, when you think about some of the other amp sims that are out there, a lot of them are going to have a lot more features. You're going to have different pedals, a lot more functionality and features. This right here is really designed to capture that Kerry King tone. So you're not going to have all the chorus, the delay, a lot of the compressors, and you know, additional features. You will have the you know, some cabinet and mic placement options, but again, they're going to be very consistent with the way Kerry King has his setup. Again, made very specific for him or his tone. So as you can see, very basic as you have it set up as a JCM800 2203, or I should say Kerry King version. Presence, bass, middle, treble, master, and preamp. Of course, you have what is called the beast mode. When you click that on, that's going to engage the additional gain. It comes with a gate and then the assault feature here. And so what I'm using right now, I'm using my Jackson SL2Q. It's got I've got EMG pickups in it. Try to give you a little more effect, closer to what Kerry King would have. And so basically your general tone is going to sound something. And so here you can turn off beast mode here. You can turn your preamp down, of course, if you want to, and you can have some clean tones. Not too sure how many people are getting the Kerry King sim here or amp for that, so we'll go ahead and turn that back up here. We'll go ahead and engage that. So I'm using today, instead of just running this through my Studio One, I wanted to run it through my actual video camera. That way you can kind of hear it in a more of a live setting versus actually running through Studio One. Wanted to try it different so you could hear it kind of a more of a natural setting and less, you know, unnatural sound running through my my Studio One. So again, presence here. Set right about there. Bass, middle, and then master volume. I watched Ola's video, who believes that if you turn this up to 10, you're going to get a better sound. The actual, I disagree with both the actual tube amp and this. For example, just sounds like crap. I disagree. I'd say that, as in with you know, tube amp JCMs, with the volume. They have a sweet spot. Getting for a real amp, when you want to crank the power tubes to really get that saturation, I agree, you want to get it up, but you don't want to push it so high. When you get into the 9 and 10 range, I'd say, I've always found that my Marshalls get a little, now some may, you may find the rare occurrence, but I'd say in general, when you get a Marshall and you crank it up, to 10, it's probably going to oversaturate a little bit. So looking for that sweet spot on a Marshall when you crank the volume is key to get the power tubes going. Preamp cranked up. We just kind of turn that back down again. Again, the beast mode here. If you turn that off, you get basically your run-of-the-mill JCM800. Turn that back on here. And here is your gate. You can adjust that based on how much gain you have. And then over here you have your salt. Honestly, I don't find a huge difference when I change it up anything beyond this, say, 5 or 6. So I'd say I just for the gate and for sound, I'd say right around the 6 or 7 seems to work well for what I like. What comes a neat feature about this is it has a couple of different things here. It has a preset feature that you can click here, and I will show you what that looks like. So when you click on the preset feature, you get a bunch of different presets that this will come with that you can test out. So for example, you can click on the anger one here. You can click on blanket on my amp. I don't know why anybody would want that, but makes no sense to me. Then you also get a lot of these, you're going to have mono and stereo, which is kind of cool. Broken and phasey. Clean blues you can set here. And they have all sorts of different modes here that you can click on. Let's see, what else do we have in here? Let's see, Crunch 2, Gated Assault, just different settings that you can set. Excuse me. For some reason, it does turn the volume down when you set these. Kind of like that one there. And then you have a couple of different other settings that you have here. This is Kerry King Rhythm. Absolutely sounds like garbage. Kerry King Rhythm 2. To me sounds like garbage. Kerry King Rhythm 3. Garbage. Kerry King Rhythm 4. A little better, and then Kerry King 5. Not at all my favorites. The presettings for the Kerry King sounds, I just do not like at all. There's a lead setting here. We'll see. Sounds okay. I'd say my favorite in this list here of the presettings is probably the, which one were we looking at? The Gated Assault was pretty good. Turn that off there. And so So what you can do is when you click on that, you just have to go back in. You see that it turned the master down. We'll just turn that volume back up. So you get to keep the setting that it was at, but it does adjust your volume. Turn down, I've turned our threshold up a little bit here for the gate. You can also, you have this feature here, the Kerry King cabs here. Now this is an interesting feature. What this is going to do is give you a couple of different options, basically of how Kerry King has his mics set up with his amps. You can see some of the different options here. This one here is it's Terry's basic setup that you can choose. There's 5 different settings that you have here. Here's the first one. The second one. It seems to turn the volume down every time I do this. Let me turn that back up. The third one on this. Fourth one. Oops, sorry about that. And then the fifth one that comes here. Then that is the Setups Kerry King Custom. Here is a setting that you have a whole bunch of different configurations and different microphones that you can go through. Lots of options to play with. I won't go through all these and bore you with that, but you can play with this and see what works best for you. You can do an in phase and an out of phase as well. You can pan and you can adjust different settings with the 57s and with different mics. Once again, starts messing with the volume. I swear to God, this thing is so inconsistent with the volume. So you can play with all these different, I won't go through those, but the one I do like, the Kerry King Live, I'd have to say. Probably my favorite. I think I like that one the best. Funny enough, it's the least adjustable. That it kind of just has the one thing with the pan. Not a lot of other things that you can do with it. But once you set that, I'll turn that off, and then I'll kind of come back in here and just tweak just a little bit to where I like it. I'll push the assault up just a little bit there. Turn the treble down a little bit. Turn the middle back up a bit. But that's pretty much the configuration for the mic. So that's pretty much the features there. As I mentioned before, it's pretty straightforward. There's not many other things that come along with it there. So my thoughts of the Kerry King, I think it's pretty decent. I like what you get. I like it. It sounds pretty much like Kerry King's amp did. I would say price range, I think it was around $100. For what you're looking for with this, I think you're going to get a pretty good representation of Kerry King's amp. So those are the different tones. Let's go ahead and hear it in a mix here real quick. We'll compare it against the, we'll be using the Kerry King against some of the THU Overloud JCM800, and I've adjusted the gain on it to be comparable to the Kerry King, and then as well as I've actually I'll be running it through my actual JCM800 2203 through my 4x12 cab, running it through an MXR 10-band EQ as well as a tube screamer, getting as close to Kerry King's tone as I can. So let's go ahead and hear how it sounds, and we'll test it out and see what you think.